there, folks. First of all, before I get to my main business today, let me say a few words about the Q&A, the response video. It will be in a form of a live stream, much because I felt it would be smoother. It had been a great deal of questions, so I felt like it would take too much place on the telephone in filming and so on. So I felt like, why not do a stream of it? And for those of you who don't watch the streams, I will of course leave it up on my channel for you to watch it afterwards. So you can also see my response to your questions. So it will be in a form of a stream. I don't know when it will be, but most likely pretty soon. I would just have to learn StreamYard first. But that with the when it comes to my Q&A. Today's business is something that I haven't done in a very long time, and that is a tribute to a recently deceased great musicians. We have lost a lot of musicians lately. Michael Nesmith from the Monkees, Robert Shakespeare and so on, and rest in peace with those guys. But I thought I was going to talk about musicians that have been a musician that has been a little bit forgotten, unfortunately, in the talk and the memorials of different musicians. A musician that I have liked for a long time. Different kind of grades though. And I'm talking about John Miles. So this will be a tribute to a British rock guitarist, keyboard player, producer, plays almost everything. John Miles, born 1949 and dead the 5th of December, a week ago, 2021. I discovered John Miles in a little odd way. I discovered him through Swedish radio, a radio show called Kulan I Luften, and in that program I heard, the first song I heard was a song from Stranger in the City album from 1976 called Do It Anyway. And I felt like that song wasn't all that bad actually. I was in a period when I started to discover old music, pretty much actually. So I actually felt like this wasn't all that bad. And it was a little bit strange, I can feel today, that the Do It Anyway was the first John Miles songs that I discovered, because that song is not your typical John Miles song. That one is very much almost country, bluegrass style. And it's definitely not something that I listen to every day, but for some reason I actually got stuck with that song. So stuck that I actually bought the Stranger in the City album back in 1993, I think, only for that song. When I listened to it then, I felt like this was pretty boring album. Do It Anyway was the only one that was really good. The rest I was very disappointed at. So I didn't know what to do with it. But my 70s interest, my first period of 70s interest faded away pretty fast. So it winded up down in the cellar, along with many other 70s albums that I had. Back in 2014, I was going to restart my 70s interest, picked up all my 70s albums from the cellar up in my record room again, but the Stranger in the City album was too banged up, so I had to throw it away. But of course, I gave it another chance after I have bought another John Miles album that I will come to pretty soon, and discovered that that one was really great. I should give Stranger City another chance, and I did. And this time I felt like, wow, this was a really great album. How could I be so wrong during all this time? So from that point, it has been. And I like John Miles nowadays because he is so unpredictable, or he was so unpredictable. Uh, Often working with Alan Parsons as a producer, sometimes Rupert Holmes, but much Alan Parsons. And Alan Parsons gave him a production that was amazing. A little heavy version of of his project sound maybe, but often John Miles songs blends experimental, really beautiful rock with beautiful ballads, AOR, and unpredictable melodies, and do that in a great blend. And it sounds really, really nice and really, really well made. So fantastic, well made. So some parts of on John Miles' catalog are stuff that I maybe normally wouldn't listen to with a lot of other familiar artists, but that with Alan Parsons and John Miles collaboration sounds so fantastic good. And John Miles also, as many of you know, did vocal on some Alan Parsons Project albums. I will also return to those. So let me do my tribute to John Miles by showing my collection. Not that big as I want to, but pretty okay anyway. So start with the album that made me rediscover Alan Parsons in how great he was. That was, of course, his Rebel album from 1976. That one that contained the song that forever will be connected with Miles. His description of for his love of music in the song Music. Music is my first love, and it will be my last. I guess that is a feeling that most of us in the vinyl community can agree on, even though depending on how much you like the song, the meaning of that most of us can actually recognize ourselves in. And Music is of course a very, very powerful song with a great soft piano ballad starting and then exploding in experimental feelings. So Rebel in total is an amazing album produced by Alan Parsons. A real amazing album. Also, then afterwards, I bought then this Stranger in the City, the follow-up album. This is produced by Rupert Holmes, not Alan Parsons, though. And it actually is also an album that goes in very much direction still, but it is also very, very beautiful and really great. And I admit it, I was wrong back in my teens when I thought this was boring. This is not boring. Your Miles is not boring. Then we have 1978, Saragon. This is an album that you can find almost everywhere in the thrift stores, in the record bins for $1. But it still is an amazing album. Comparing to like Music and the Rebel album, he decided to do most of the stuff by himself here. He plays most of his instruments. He skipped the orchestral part, no huge orchestra. and an album that goes between sometimes even 70s heavy metal, but it still managed to sound good. AOR and soft ballads. If you take a listen to the theme song Nice Man Jack, a song that is about Jack the Ripper. It is very, very close to 70s heavy metal. That, besides from Deep Purple, normal isn't my normal dose, but I actually do like it a lot. I don't have all John Miles' album, of course, but so we're moving to 1980, the return of Alan Parsons, album Sympathy. And Sympathy is also a very heavy album, dramatic, like it should be when it is Alan Parsons involved. And it's very exciting. You never know which way the songs are going to go. And listen to the amazing orchestra in the song Fella in the Cellar. It is so fantastic. Real exciting album. Moving on to 1985, like many other musicians in the 80s, Alan Parsons became a bit more commercial, and I think it worked. But I'm a fan of the 80s, so what do I know? Maybe not that impartial. But he released this John Miles Band album, Transition, that actually is not as experimental as many other of his earliest albums. It is more of a regular AOR heavy rock and roll album, and containing some great songs, among others the only 7-inch that I have with John Miles, Blinded. And it also contains another song that I heard pretty lot of times in that show, Kulan i luften, a bit more modern, a song called Who Knows. It actually is a real great 80s rock song. So I actually think John Miles worked in this format also, the more commercial rock style. And as I said, he also did vocal on several Alan Parsons albums, like Tales of Mystery and Imagination, Alan Edgar Poe. He's doing vocal on this one. One of the vocals, of course. He's not the main vocalist. No one is when it comes to Alan Parsons. Normally, almost no one. Pyramid. He's also doing some vocal tracks on. We have 1985, Stereotomy album, of course, made the same year as Transition, as I showed. And he also sings on the 1987's Gaudi. Like he's one of the singers in La Sagrada Familia, the intro track. So worked a lot with Alan Parsons. And Alan Parsons also, of course, did a very touching, great tribute to an interview to when he heard about John Miles' death. You can read it actually on Wikipedia. And to show the importance that music, the song, actually have had. So from 1985, he was on almost every concert of the annual Night of the Proms in England, and always performed music that literally became the anthem for that show. And when last year, when it wasn't any Night of the Proms due to you know what, uh, he actually recorded a new version, orchestral version of the music for the fans actually. So he is actually he's most famous for that song, but that hasn't stopped him from actually realizing that that song has meant a lot to the people, and he performed it to the very end actually with pleasure. So John Miles, thank you very much for your music, what you have done to the music industry and for the music for, to the people, for everything you have done, for all the great songs and your fantastic ways of doing unpredictable melodies and songs together with Alan Parsons, and for all the great records that you have made. So, until next time, I hope that every one of you have a real nice time. So, take care and so long.